So the website is called photop.com. It is a bootleg Photoshop. Works exactly the same. Has a lot of the same features and everything. It's just watered down, and it's online. So we could do some stuff with this. It saves it as Photoshop documents, so it could be opened up in Photoshop later on. It's royalty free or whatever, but without paying for it, and I don't think you should pay for it. We just got to make sure whatever we save, we download at the end of the session, because it won't open up on your device without a program on it, and you'd have to go back to this web page to open it up later on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, so all right, so when you get over here to Photop, you'll have whatever, some error message, just exit out and then open from computer. And then what I would do is I would find some of the any of the things that you sort of picked out and saved. Let me just, I think I saved one somewhere. You know what? I ain't got nothing, so what I'll do is I'll just pull up a picture, whatever. It could be any picture of those ones you said. The ones that were like textures and photographs to me were better. Try not to use the ones that were already things, like people's drawings and people's work. I think I went over that already. So when we open up a picture in Photop, what you're going to have is you're going to have on one side your toolbar. The other side, you should have a layers window. You should see layers open, and then what you're going to see on layers is you're going to see a little thumbnail of the picture that we're working on, and we're going to have the word background. So what we're going to do is I want to kind of use like the textures to kind of make some funky shapes, and then have those funky shapes as something that we can kind of play with and move around and maybe resize and make a collage out of. So basically, instead of using a scissor and the glue, we'll just use Photoshop. So on the background, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you, there's a lot of different ways to do this. I'm going to pick the pen tool. All right, the pen tool is down here under the letter T. And it looks like an old school pen nib, and if you press the letter P, it'll just go directly to it. We don't have to worry too much about the sort of, I guess, the random, these are all the tool options that pop up. Whenever you click on a different tool, it'll give you different options. The pen tool, all the default ones are fine for right now. So when we click with a pen, I clicked once, and you notice there's a blue dot, and already a new layer has popped up here called shape. When I click again, it makes a straight line. Click again, it makes a straight line. Click, 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 click. And what it's done right now, when I click on the first original dot, it's created a shape. And that shape is filled in with red. See that red choice is up here. Make a different color. It really doesn't matter what color it is. But what we're doing is we're trying to make like a funky looking swatch. All right. So I'm just going to get rid of all of that. You see this layer over here. What I can do is I can delete it. Down here is a little waste paper bag bin that says delete layer. So I'll just hit delete, and then I'm going to start fresh. So I'll grab my pen tool, click once, click again. I've made a line. I click again, click again, click again, click again. Now, if I don't like something, I can undo it by holding down Control and then tapping the letter Z. So when I hit Control and I tap the letter Z, it will undo it. Okay. If I hold down Shift, Control, and then tap the letter Z, it will redo it. Okay. If I hit delete, it'll just delete it all, but there's still a layer over here, and I'll just get rid of that layer. All right. So undo is Control Z, redo is Control Shift Z, and we got the pen tool, which is the letter P. I know I'm going to go through a lot of things. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click once, and now I'm going to click and hold. I didn't let go of the trackpad. So I clicked and held, and now I'm going to drag my finger. And what happens when I drag my finger is I create something called a curve. This bar over here is called a handle. And then what I'm going to do is, when I find a curve that I like, I'm going to let it go. And when I let it go, you can see it's made this little curve. And now when I click and hold again, it automatically creates another anchor point, and I've got another curve I can create. And I click and hold again, pull and drag. If I click and just click, I can then go straight again, make a different shape, and play around with it. So what I did is I made a weird shape over here. All right, doesn't matter what it is, I've made a weird shape. Once I've created a shape, all right, why I created that shape is I wanted to create a basic outline for what I want to cut out on the picture underneath it. So what I can do is I can click this little eyeball here and I can see what's underneath it and that little outline. Now if I don't like it, I can grab my move tool, which is the first arrow up top, and I can click on this and I can kind of move it around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out just the part that's inside here and have that as a little shape. How am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to go over to my toolbar and I'm going to work my way down from the move tool, rectangle select, the lasso select, down to the magic wand. If you can't find the magic wand, it's hiding under the object selection tool, which looks like this. That's the 1, 2, 3, fourth one down, and then you can click and hold, and under those options you can find the magic wand. And what I'll do is I'll click the magic wand inside that shape. Now that broken line, that sort of dashed line that you see, that is a selection area. So everything that's inside of this broken line is now selected. What I want to do is I want to go to my layers window and I want to switch from shape to the background. And I have my selected area. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Control and the letter C to copy, and then the letter V, like Victor, to paste. And you may not have noticed anything, but if you look right in here, you see there's a new layer. It's got a little thumbnail. It looks like the shape I just made. To see that, I can click on that little eyeball. I'm going to make the background disappear, and now I've created this little cutout shape. So what I want you to do is I want you to take some of those texture-like pictures that you've found, that you've collected. I want you to open up in Photopea. I want you to use the pen tool, and I want you to make some funky, since we're going like kaleidoscopic, psychedelic, or whatever, I want you to make some funky cutouts, all right? When you make one, like I just did over here, you're going to go to File, Save as PSD, and when you do that, it automatically downloads that PSD file to your downloads folder. Well, from here, I can go File, Open a new picture, grab my pen tool, make some funky shape. Make sure I close that shape by clicking back at the original part of it. I can grab my move tool and move it around. All right, get it the way I want it. Okay, and I'm going to look over here. I'm going to make it disappear. I'm going to grab my magic wand, click inside the shape, go to my background, hit Control C, Control V, and I've made my own little new little swatch. All right, so why don't you make it and then save that file, save as PSD. Why don't you make a couple different weird looking swatches that we can maybe play around with. They don't have to be really complicated forms, but I want you to have a few different things to play with. I want you to understand how I use the shape tool and the copy and the paste to make these little pieces. Does that make sense?